Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and welcome to the next video in my episodes on the iniBuilds A310 tutorials. So today we are going to do the before start procedures, our engine start and the after start procedure. Let's go ahead by carrying out the before start procedures. So after we have inserted our takeoff data, we do our final checks, make sure that there are no white lights currently illuminated, make sure that the APU is running. This would be the latest point to start it if you haven't done so earlier. And finally make sure that we do have some decent autopilot modes selected, so we can arm profile and nav mode up here, and that there is nothing abnormal on the aircraft. We can also close all our doors in case we haven't done so yet, and we can do that on the page up here. Note that if you do press the Prepare for Pushback and Departure knob, that is also going to remove your ground power, so press that one only after you are sure that the APU is powering the aircraft. If you are unsure, just head over to the electrical AC page, and you can see that the APU generator is available up here, so we are safe to disconnect the ground power. As we can see, the APU generator has taken over and is now powering the aircraft. So now we can press Prepare for Pushback and Departure, and we are going to connect our pushback tuck in a few moments. But before we do that, let's run our final checks. So the seatbelt signs are on, no smoking switches in auto. Fuel, we need 8.5, we have 8.7 tons on board. The radios are checked and set. Landing elevation, that is hidden down here, 0 feet is set as that is the elevation in Hamburg. Altimeters, 1013 reading 1500, which equals our airfield elevation. Takeoff warning, we do a quick takeoff warning check. You find the button down here, just to confirm that the takeoff warning system is actually working. Brakes and any skid up here are on. And with that we can now run the before start checklist down to the line. You can find it in the EFB over here. So cockpit preparation completed, signs on and auto, fuel quantity, 8.7 tons of fuel on board, navigation checked and set. At that point we're basically making sure that we have set up the FMC, we have our routing in here, we have the nav mode pre-selected, and nav is selected up here as well. Now, if we were to use any other mode, then we would of course set the airplane up accordingly. Landing elevation, that is 0 feet set. Altimeters, 1013, reading 1500 set. And brake any skid is a normal and on. Before start checklist complete down to the line. So let's go ahead and request our pushback from up here. And for this tutorial I'm going to use the default pushback system. Of course you could at any time also get your pushback from GSX or any other available add-on. At this moment, as soon as the tuck is connected and ready to go, you would request pushback clearance from air traffic control. We can see the tuck is just about connecting down there. So let's assume that pushback clearance has been granted from air traffic control. We check that all the doors are closed, switch on the beacon, and make sure that the parking brake is on for now. So let's read the before start checklist below the line. Windows and doors closed, beacon on, parking brake set, before start checklist complete. Finally, we set our transponder to XPDR, release the brake, and now our pushback starts. So let's start our engines. The pushback, we can turn the airplane. We do have basic functionality available in here, like this. Now, of course, it is much easier just to use an add-on like GSX to have the pushback done for you, but this provides us with some basic pushback control, which is really appreciated. So while that pushback is in progress, let's go ahead and start our engines. So confirm that the area to start is clear. Ignition selector set to either A or B. If the captain is pilot flying, we're going to use A. If the first officer is pilot flying, we're going to use B. Note how the sound of the packs is now vanishing. And as our pushback is about to complete, let's select stop. And once the aircraft is actually stopped, we are going to set our parking brakes. So, for the start procedure itself, we'll start engine number 2 first and thereafter engine number 1. So press the engine start switch for engine number 2. Verify the open light illuminates. Now we're checking that N2 is rising, N1 is rising, and that our oil pressure is rising as well. At 20% N2, we're going to switch on the fuel, which is down here. Now we're going to monitor the engine while it starts up. At 45% N2, the blue open light is going to extinguish, as we can see, and the starter is cutting out. You just heard that sound and saw the right side screens flickering. That was the generator coming online automatically. And now our engine is running. Let's repeat the same process for engine number 1. We press the starter, observe the open light, N2, N1. Also have a look at the oil pressure gauge down here. Now you can see it increasing. We have 20% N2. Switch on the fuel. So approaching 45 N2. Watch the starter disengage. Now the left generator came online, and that completes our engine start. Going ahead with the after start flow, we set the ignition as required. In normal operation you would put it off, and in heavy precipitation or contaminated taxiway you would probably keep the ignition on. APU bleed off, APU master off, anti-ice as required for today's flight. Since we do have good weather, we are going to keep the engine anti-ice off. Speed brake, arm, rudder trim, reset, check 0. Slats and flaps set as required for takeoff. We calculated with both at 15, so we're gonna select that position, verify that they actually extend, and finally set the trim as appropriate for your center of gravity. Now you can find that one on the weight and balance page down here. So 0.5 up, that is the trim we need, and we're going to select the trim at 0.5 units up. Let's call for the after start checklist. So we have pitch trim, 0.5 set, rudder trim, 0, spoilers, armed, slats and flaps, 15, 15. Be sure to check the indicator and the flap lever to make sure that both are set correctly. Ecam status, checked. We verify that there is no message on here that is not expected. Anti-ice, as required, is off, and the hand signal is received. That would be the indication to the ramp agent that everything on the ground is clear. Quick check outside shows that I definitely need to work on my manual pushback skills, but the aircraft is clear for taxi. And that is going to conclude the tutorial for now. See you all again later on at the holding points.